Hey guys, I'm back with another book review where I summarize not the main points, but important takeaways when it comes to personal development and building businesses. This week we're exploring the book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F***. And in case you're wondering, no, I'm not going to continue this censoring. So if you're 10 years old or you're at a public library, put on your headphones now. In the world we live in today, we are bombarded by messages that tell us that the secret to having a good life is having nice things. A nicer job, a better car, a prettier girlfriend. But when does this all end? Because there's always going to be something better, isn't there? As you know, this channel is dedicated to improving ourselves and creating profitable businesses, which are all goals we want to reach. Which at first glance seems like once we reach these goals, we're set for life. Either that or we continue to reach for more and more, higher and higher. This book tells us the opposite, that we actually don't need anything in order to be happy. In the next few moments, we're going to take a plunge into the subtle art of not giving a fuck, and it will hopefully give us a deeper understanding to what really matters in our lives. My first key takeaway from this book is that more isn't always better. Imagine you're starving and you eat that first slice of pizza. It's delicious, so you decide to eat another one. You keep eating more and more until you're full, and then you reach a point where you don't want to eat another slice anymore. In other words, you gain more pleasure from not eating another slice. In economics, this is called the Law of Diminishing Returns, which says that the more we have of something, the less we enjoy it. And just like that slice of pizza, everything in life works the exact same way. You might be thinking, who wouldn't want money? A nicer car? A larger house? I would. They seem like great goals to aim towards, true. But one thing we tend to forget is that those things aren't free. They come at a price, and that price is time. At a certain point in anything, we'll get so much of it where spending more time is a waste because you could be using it on other things that would result in more happiness. And by the way, everything we do in life is to gain pleasure. If anyone disagrees, I'd be happy to have a debate session down in the comments. In some cases, by stopping what we're doing, we're able to even enhance the enjoyment of that very thing. Let me explain it better. I guess if I were to try to use the pizza example, by deciding to eat only 6 slices instead of 12, we could use the money we were going to use to buy 12 slices to buy 6 slices of a better pizza. When we spend our entire lives looking for that perfect spouse, we lose out in the depth of connection that builds up over time in one relationship. When we make it our life goal to travel to every city in the world, we miss out on the day-to-day activities that are built on community and a place to call home. When we spend all our time for the sole purpose of making money when we already make more than $100K a year, we miss out on doing everything else that gives our life meaning. This example is a bit tricky because the better we get at something, we tend to make more and more money. So if money is a byproduct, then it's fine, as long as it's not the main priority. And I'm not saying you should have a shit job, drive a broken car, and marry an ugly spouse. In fact, in the beginning, try as many things as you can. Go on a ton of dates, and travel to a lot of countries. As long as you understand that at some point, the enjoyment you'll get from pursuing more experiences will be overpowered by the enjoyment you'll get from the depth of experiencing a few things to the fullest. Second key takeaway, stop doing things other people tell you will make you happier, and just do things you enjoy. This kind of contradicts the beliefs of famous philosophers like Aristotle, who said, a human's ability to reason and contemplate about life is what ultimately makes us happy. In any case, I think Mark, the author of this book, is right. We should stop giving a fuck about what we're supposed to do to be happy, and instead just do what we enjoy. When it comes to something like choosing a career, a good way of thinking about it is, what is the worst thing about a certain job? Something that you have to deal with on a daily basis. When you're the CEO of a company, you're going to have to deal with a ton of responsibilities, and your phone will be on 24/7. When you're on a customer complaint team, you're going to have to deal with unsatisfied customers yelling at you all day. Uber driver, people puking in your car. You get the point. In other words, and I quote, it doesn't matter where you go. there will always be a huge pile of shit waiting for you. Therefore, it's not about finding a way to avoid the shit, but to find the type of shit you're willing to deal with. Third key takeaway. When we learn to give fewer fucks, we're able to give better fucks for things that matter more. Doing what I do, I come across a lot of people who are leaders in their industry. People who are very good at what they do. What I noticed is that compared to the average person, these people think bigger, are more critical on things that matter, and they give fewer fucks for things that don't. I've been creating a website the past couple of weeks that will feature bonus content for this channel. And just the other day, I was trying to position the logo on the top left of every page. I spent a bit over an hour trying to do it, and would have spent another 2 to 3 hours in order to figure it out. But then I remembered what I learned from this book, to give fewer fucks for things that aren't important. So I asked myself, is the logo important right now? Well, of course a logo is important. But at that moment, my goal was to create a functional site as soon as possible. And when it comes to that objective, having a logo at the top of each page isn't as important. So I worked on something else. A few days ago, I sold the first copy of my book. If I didn't give fewer fucks for things that weren't important, I'd still probably be working on something unrelated to my objective, such as adjusting font sizes or something. I saw a video the other day where Arnold Schwarzenegger was giving an inspirational talk on stage. One of the bits of advice he gave was to always have a clear goal on what we want. The same goes for little tasks you do each and every day. Ask yourself, what do you hope to accomplish? And if you catch that what you're doing isn't important when it comes to reaching that goal, then don't do it. Not giving a fuck and having a proactive attitude have a lot in common. When you're proactive, you think about the end goal, you work towards it, and you don't give a fuck about anything else. So today, I said fuck about 28 times. We also learned at least 3 things. The first is that more isn't always better. In fact, it's only better until we reach a certain point. We also learned that sometimes we should ask ourselves what we like to do, instead of thinking too much. I guess a real lesson in that is sometimes we take things too seriously, especially when it comes to personal growth. Just take a breather, loosen up, and let go of all the expectations you have of yourself, and just relax. Because after you've achieved your goals, you're going to have more goals, and eventually you realize that all you really want in life is to gain the satisfaction of knowing that you accomplished something. And what that will do is make you happy. But the reality is, you don't have to wait until that point to be happy. Start being happy now. And remember, we'll face challenges everywhere we go. Sometimes it's not so much about trying to get to a point where there are no more challenges anymore, but it's to pick the type of challenge we're willing to take on. And lastly, we learned that if we start to give fewer fucks for things that don't matter as much, we'll start to notice what's really important, like our relationships and our health, and we give bigger fucks for those things. Do you agree with everything said in this book? Even though it seems to contradict the lessons taught in other personal development books, I think that all the principles make sense, and it's actually one of my favorite books I've read this year. Something I learned over time is that the goal of learning isn't to find a clear answer on all your life's problems. When we learn new things, we're going to come across a lot of contradictory advice. And instead of treating it as black and white rules that dictate how we should behave, our job is to simply understand where the author is coming from, and then incorporating that piece of knowledge into our understanding. And whenever we come across problems in the future, we look to each new problem unbiasedly and make our decisions on a case-by-case basis. Hey guys, I've been working on something special. I took the best material I've learned through reading over 100 books on business and personal development, and I jam-packed it into a 50-page book. Part 1 of the book covers the basics to creating different kinds of businesses. Part 2 covers the wisdom and the most important tools when it comes to personal growth. This includes practical tips that will allow you to excel in everything you do. You can learn more by clicking on the picture of the book. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Hey guys, I'm looking for a few people to help me animate videos. If that's something you can see yourself doing, or if you have a skill you think is useful for this channel, like video editing, then email me at j@execubits.com. That's JAY at execubits.com with animation or collaboration as a title.